Disease. Its mass medication is favoured for eradicating disease. The patient is expected to be passive and the doctor active. Man is seen simply as a complex physical and chemical system. Medical research, education and practice is driven by commercial interests. If anybody doubts that, I've been in contact with GlaxoSmithKline to try and get some research funding for Buteyko. Disease, we talk about 20th century medicine. You've got to find the tiny little bit and look at the kidney. Don't look at the kidney, look at part of the kidney. And what medicine does it for that? No underlying philosophy. The wonderful expression of Buteyko's blind empiricism. I know it's gorgeous, it's so polite. It's the suck it and see approach. Fighting disease with anti-agents, very much part of our thinking. Anti-inflammatories, antihistamines, antipyretics and so forth. You have to fight disease. It's a battle against disease like terrorism. Symptomatic and palliative treatment. Make the patient feel better without changing the underlying problem.
I'm just, yeah.
No, just you lose yourself. No, I shouldn't have done that to you. It's dominated by simplistic scientific principles. It's a really weird world out there, Alice in Wonderland world, where lots of things are possible which we never thought possible. Technically based protocols for all preferred, rather than clinical experience and the skills of the doctor. So the poor doctor now is being hamstrung that unless he follows the protocol, he'll get into trouble. And we talked about this earlier, about legislation and suing and so forth. So his experience may actually say that I'd rather do this and not do that, but if the protocol says he's got to do this, he better do it. 21st century medicine. Focus on ethology and health. Individualized prescription and therapy. Can you recognize Buteyko in this? Man is viewed as a complex physical, emotional, and dare we say it, spiritual being? That's not a part of medicine, but it was a part of Buteyko's thinking. Yes. The patient is an active participant in therapy and guided by doctor or therapist. Medicine is driven by the individual and society's needs. Focus on ethology and health. Individualized prescription and therapy. Can you recognize Buteyko in this? Man is viewed as a complex physical, emotional, and dare we say, spiritual being? That's not a part of medicine, but it was a part of Buteyko's thinking. Yes. The patient is an active participant in therapy and guided by doctor or therapist. Medicine is driven by the individual and society's needs, not by commercial interests necessarily. This comes in. Holistic, integrative approach to health and disease, rather than reductionist. Usually based on philosophy that underpins the therapy. I have asked many people in medicine, what is the philosophy underpinning modern medicine? There is a blank expression appears on the face. There is a philosophy underlying osteopathy, underlying acupuncture, underlying all the major natural therapies, and underlying Buteyko's work. Open to the 21st century scientific developments and ideas. Finally, therapy that addresses the causes of disease and makes the patient really better. Intellect and experience equally valued in the physician or therapist. So, where does Buteyko fit into this? Very, very simply. As I said at the beginning, the Buteyko method is far more than an effective training program to reduce hyperventilation. It breaks the modern medical model of healthcare that laid the foundation of the 21st century medicine. Revisits, actually, natural healing traditions with a scientific perspective. Steiner's been mentioned already, Rudolf Steiner, another one of my heroes, because he was about 100 years ahead of his time. And I think Buteyko's in the same category. Perhaps this is why, despite its proven success and its clear philosophy, the established medical world has difficulty meeting this challenge of a numerical paradigm based on health rather than pathology, on the individual's self-development rather than mass medication, and on recognition that man is more than just matter, but is an emotional and spiritual being. I got some lovely little pictures there for you. There you go.
Oh, and you know, by Professor Buteyko's definition, in his own words, what he said about his discovery, that it turned the medicine from standing on its head to put it on its feet.
20th century medicine is dominated by the study of pathology and disease. Professor Buteyko recognized the validity of studying pathology and disease, but gave more attention to etiology of health, in particular to the salutogenic effects of correct breathing. Sorry? Standard protocols for all treatment, taking away the traditional physician's freedom to draw on his own experience. Medical trials based on the gold standard, I put it in inverted commas, you notice, of double blinding, which draws on massed cohorts of matched, inverted commas, sufferers, despite the observed fact that we all suffer differently and no two people are alike. Buteyko recognized the need to apply his therapeutics on an individual basis and to tailor the treatment to the needs of the patient. Material versus real man. Act of people's whole being and spirit to transform themselves to a higher level of consciousness. His model of man was more than just the chemistry and body of modern medicine. So again, it's this lovely combination of bringing modern scientific discovery and thinking into this subtle area. This is what Steiner did, and this is what I think Buteyko has done. This is a straight one, Buteyko. 5 minutes, okay, I can do it. You got a handout as well, good. Passive patient versus active patient. Very, very quickly, we're reaping the dire rewards of making the patient the passive recipient of medical treatment. For a generation, patients, especially in England, but the National Health Service, all free appointed delivery, have been taught to follow medical instructions and not to be involved in their own health care. Just keep taking the pills, you'll be fine. Buteyko's DVBM demands the utmost application of the patient with attentive guidance of the doctor or practitioner. Patients are given back their autonomy and self-responsibility. The physician or therapist is a guide or teacher. Medicine and commercial interests, we've dealt with that in part. Disease is big business for modern medicine. Resources are directed by commercial pressures, be they research funds for drugs. Buteyko's approach to seek out the underlying cause of disease, address these problems, breathing, diet, lifestyle, serves the health and well-being of individual and society. Reductionist versus holistic, only words. Increasingly, modern medicine has directed its attention to smaller and smaller parts of the individual, to narrower and narrower parts of the interrelated systems, trying to fix one fix for the specific problem, a pill for every part. The rise of the specialist and the demise of the GP. Buteyko has opened our research and widened our vision of health and disease to recognize the complex total interrelationships and try to work with this reality rather than the simplistic reductionist model of man. I did economics degree from my sins at one stage, and the basis of economics is a bit like the basis of medicine, is the demand for pigs goes up so long as the price goes down, ceteris paribus. Everything else stays the same. It never does stay the same. Is there a philosophy of medicine? Coming at last. As Buteyko said, modern medicine has been reduced to blind empiricism, a euphemism for suck it and see, or trial and error. I have had patients come to me given medication, and I said, what's that for? Well, no, if it works, it proves I've got a heart condition. If it doesn't work, I'm okay. Something like that. I wouldn't have believed this, I actually heard it from my own ears. Not only from his Ukraine spirituality, but also from his ancient philosophy of the East. Medical warfare versus peaceful coexistence. Anti-inflammatory, antihistamine, antispasmodic, anticoagulant, antidepressant, waging war on disease with smart drugs. Modern medicine sees disease as an aberration which has to be fought with some palliation or suppressive weapons. Buteyko recognized many of today's diseases arrive from the body's attempt to bring back some form of balance. This is a pure nature cure from old days almost. The essence of treatment would therefore be to restore normal functioning by removing the cause of the imbalance.
He's making money though.
Ah, you hit the head. This, I've got a picture of big dollars. Medicine today measures success in reducing symptoms almost regardless of long-term consequences. Buteyko was a modern exponent of systems thinking in medicine, trying to work out, we accept that everyone is a